I'm out in the garden very early this morning. Come out and have a wander around and show you a few late season perennials. It's easy to get carried away with sort of one type of species, but it's a lot better if you can mix it up a little bit. I do that up here at Grassy Bottom. I'm always buying new plants and trialing them and seeing what works and what doesn't work. But one thing I'm often asked, and actually I'm getting a few more visits for now, is my late season garden, which it is really. And that's intentional. That's because I love ornamental grasses. So naturally you have to put together plants with that. And so I do. The yellow flower you can see up there is a beauty. I absolutely love that one. As you know, I love every plant that I've got, but I really do like that one. It's a sunflower called Helianthus. And in this particular case, it's called Cape Nook Star. And it's a good doer, a really good doer. I'll get a bit closer to show you it. Struggling to the border as usual. So that is a real stunner. A typical sunflower type actually, but very much a smaller plant. Let me put my hand in front of it just to show you. So you can see from that it is quite small. Just to the right of it, another good late season perennial. A lot of people don't want to get this one because it's a bit invasive, or they think it's invasive, and it is, I suppose, really, but easy to control. And I'm talking about the white one there, a Japanese anemone. I believe it to be Honorine Jobert. Can't be sure of that one, but a good late season perennial that you should consider getting, and just control it. So don't be moaning about plants that are classed as invasive. That's all down to you controlling them. All plants can be invasive. They can spread everywhere. And if you leave them alone and don't control them, then you're going to end up with tons of them. So do something early on. Have a bit of a plan in your head as to what you think you're going to do with that plant. That plan will change, by the way, always does. And then execute that plan. And by that, I'm talking control. But a good one. Now let's have a little wander around and let's see if we can find a few more nice ones to suggest for you, because there are quite a lot up at Grassy Bottom. Now one of the asters that I really rate, and always have rated this one, let's get closer to it for you. Let's get the camera going down to it, is this one here. Now it's not a bad representation. It's more blue than it is purple. Now with this particular aster, it is quite a clumper. It's what I call a filler. So if you've got a bit of a gap in your border, this one will do the job of filling that gap up quite nicely. But you need to remember that, because this plant can become quite a large size. I mean, that one at the minute, what's that? 1, 2, I'd say that's about 2.5, 3 foot wide by about 2 foot high. And year on year, it just gets bigger. But a good late season perennial, well, it starts quite early, to be quite honest with you, but I'd class it as a late season perennial, and it just keeps flowering its socks off. So it's definitely worth having. It still remains as an aster. This one's particular one is Fricatii Monk, and just a real good doer. So we'll move to the next one. Show you this one. Now the sun's quite low in the sky at the moment because, as I said, I'm out here really early. It's very quiet, no traffic, nobody around, nobody bugging me. This is one of the sanguisorbas. Now sanguisorbas, I absolutely love sanguisorbas. One of my favourite species, and there's a bee flying around that right now. And good for the pollinators. This is a good upright form. Now last year, this one grew too tall, flopped over in the first of the winds that we had last year. And I had to support some of it. Some of it was okay, some wasn't. Now this year, because of the dry conditions, it's slowed it down, slowed the growth down. So it's not as tall as it would have been, which actually I favour. Because once the winds hit this garden, they do blow over. So that's a sanguisorba called blackthorn, and a bit of a beauty. If I just pan to the right of that, I said right. Oh, I'm not great on this camera, but anyway. So the plant you can see in the background, I'm always going on about this one. This one's a Rudbeckia called Lanciniata Herbstonner. A really nice one, really nice. And it's a lovely bright golden yellow. Again, been blown over, you can see I've had to tie that up. So I've trussed it up with a bit of, what did I tie that one with? I think just a bit of garden twine, just to keep it like that. Now, I am going to lift it to make it a bit more straight. I'm not going to leave it like that, it looks ridiculous. And what I'll do to do that, to correct that, is I'll just put a cane in there and tie it up to that, keep it straight for the rest of the year. This grass you can see in front of you, this one is a Melinia, and it's a Piet Oudolf introduction, found in his own garden. There's the wind blowing, giving it a good look. And this grass is a Melinia called Crystal Vale. I think it's turning out to be a rather good one. I can see why he's called it Crystal Vale. It does have a crystal-y look about it now. Now this is the 3rd year in, and a nice Melinia, and a good one to put in with your perennials. Now, it's not the only Melinia I've got, but one of the good ones. I'll show you this other Melinia actually. Now, one of my viewers, and thank you very much to him for sending me this, sent me this one here. Well, he sent me 3 actually. And this one's a relatively new Melinia, but it's the Caerulea type, so it's very small, as you can see from there. Now, he assures me that this one's going to be a lovely autumn colour, as a lot of the Caeruleas do have. But very short, and it's got some lovely dense seed heads. I call them flower heads, but we'll call them seed heads. Very dense and nice. So I don't know where I'm going to plant it. I've stuck them there for now, just because I can't think of where to put them, because my garden's pretty packed with plants, and sometimes I have to make sacrifices and take some out. So I am considering putting them in there, but I'm not 100% sure yet as to whether I will do. We'll see, time will tell. Now the gravel garden doesn't really have as many perennials in. It's a difficult area when you've got a dry area. You've got to really think long and hard about what you're putting in there. So I do select dry plants generally. So it doesn't have too many perennials in there. So we'll take a walk up here, see if we can find another perennial for you. Now, although I've shown you these many times, this is an Elenium, the yellow one in the background. I zoom into it. And a lovely, lovely yellow variety that a friend of mine gave me without a name. She didn't know what it was. So after a lot of internet searching, I think I've pinned it down to Riverton Beauty. I hope it's that one, and it is behaving a lot like that. It's not as tall this year, but again, bad weather. But looks good. Now, we'll go back to the Sanguisorbas. So here's another Sanguisorba that looks good at this time of year, and this one's called Lilac Squirrel. A very nice one, actually. I do rate it. I'll take you down to some more fresher flowers, as you can see. A deeper cerise pink, I'd call that. Definitely. I love it. And you can see why it's called Lilac Squirrel, because they look like the tails of a squirrel. Well, if you've got a good imagination, I guess they do. But you get the idea. So that's a good Sanguisorba for late season interest. Now, in the background, just because it's caught my eye, I'm going to show you this. It's not really a late season perennial. It's a perennial that's there all the time, or more of what we call a sub-shrub. So it behaves more like a shrub. And I'll zoom back out again. I forgot to zoom back out, didn't I? But anyway, now that euphorbia back there is a seedling that I selected out and decided I would keep it. I believe it to have parentage of black pearl amongst others. I was hoping it was going to stay a little bit shorter than that, but it is what it is now. It's that size. What's that? 2 foot. But it's a beauty. And it does flower, this one. It's got lovely colours, so it's still on trial. I'm calling it Little Black at the minute, which is a bit silly really, because it's actually growing quite tall, but good one. So if you want to mix something into your perennials, your late season perennials, go for that, or go for at least one Euphorbia wolfenii. That one being a good one, but not available. I have took cuttings of that actually. If anyone wants to buy one of those, get in touch. So while we're passing this, and as I've said before, I will do another video on miscanthus, but while we're passing it, we'll have a look at this one. Now this is fantastic. I'm not sure when this one came to the market. It wasn't that long ago. Now it's still very small at the moment, but this one's called Miscanthus Memory, and it has this lovely pink look about it at the moment. It gets a lot taller than this. It's not finished yet. It's actually only just starting. There's lots of seed heads to come up yet and show, but it is a beauty. And when it blows, and by that I mean when the seed heads fluff up, it has a wonderful look, and it's certainly worth getting. And that would look really good with your late season perennials. So as you know, I show you lots of my garden and lots of different plants, but this is a stunner. This is Perovskia, and very good colour, as you can see, and it's looking good on camera as well. So it's looking exactly how it is. We'll get a bit of a closer shot of that one. So it's commonly called the Russian sage, and it's a beauty, absolute beauty. Always gets a lot of attention, especially at this time of year. Obviously it's its time to shine, but always gets attention. Oh, look at that. Doesn't that look good, that grass? I keep telling people about that, and they're a little bit scared of this grass because it can be quite an aggressive self-seeder, but beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And that one's a pennisetum called Macrorum, with its pipe cleaner heads, and designers love it because it's just a good plant. And I would urge you to get hold of that one. Don't be scared of it. Yes, it can be a bit of a spreader, not an aggressive spreader. You can soon pull it back and pull it back into its clump, but definitely worth having. So any more late season perennials? Well, the asters and the symphotrichums, this being one, it's not out yet, are definitely worth considering if you're looking for a late season interest. So this is Helianthus salicifolius and one called Augialis. A really nice one, not out enough at the moment, but definitely worth getting for your late season border. We'll just pull back on that. And it's a good clumper, not as tall as last year. Actually, it's getting quite tall now. The middle bit's getting a bit taller. That's more like it. And it's not tall because it prefers a little bit more moisture. But nevertheless, fantastic for a late season border. So late season perennials, you've got to include Verbena bonariensis. It's a long flowery one, so it's pretty early in the season anyway, but it carries on as well. Looking good. So there's not a lot else to tell you about the late season perennials. I've shown you a few that I think you should consider getting, and I have a lot more of those, but we'll save those for another day. So consider the longevity of the plant when you're buying them, especially with the flowers, because remember, flowers are very fleeting really, but late season perennial ones tend to hold a little bit longer, and that is really because of the cold nights moving in, so they hold the flowers a lot longer. Consider mixing grasses with them as well. Don't just put a load of flowers in there, it can be very boring. And again, consider putting some sort of a feature, a man-made feature with it, which will definitely help. So that's all I've got to say really on late season perennials, but hopefully that's given you a few ideas on one or two to consider putting in your own garden. There's many more, and I've got many more in the nursery area that I haven't shown you. And save them for another day as well. Okay, I'll talk to you on the next one. Ta-da!